This is Monocle on Design Extra. It's a short show to accompany our weekly programme where we discuss everything from architecture and craft to furniture and fashion. I'm Maylie Evans. For 60 years, Habitat has been at the beating heart of British homes, creating furniture and homeware that fit seamlessly into our lives. To celebrate this milestone, a new collection unites design icons and emerging talent, and an exhibition at the Design Museum showcase how this brand has continued to bring innovation, modern design, and perhaps a little bit of European flair to UK shoppers. It's over to Monocle's Emma Nelson now, as she winds back the clock to Habitat's early beginnings.
In 1964, the UK was changing. Britannia ruled the waves with the Beatles, the Kinks and the Rolling Stones, topping the charts all over the world. Living standards were improving after decades of post-war austerity. And you might have a little bit of money in your pocket. From the mods to Mary Quant's miniskirts, that little touch of cash could sharpen your look. And thanks to Sir Terence Conran in London in 1964, it could buy you good design.
The type of store that sold furniture was not really a lifestyle emporium. It was something more practical, that you bought your bed and you lived with it. You bought your sofa and you had it for life. Whereas Conran wanted something much more fun and quick and at times frivolous.
Johanna Agerman is the chief curator at London's Design Museum, which Terence Conran created.
He says, I remember thinking, gosh, if they can do it for fashion, maybe I can do the same for furniture. I was very aware of how taste was changing around the country and realised that just like with clothes, people wanted furniture that they could take away with them.
Conran was inspired by the food writer Elizabeth David, the woman credited with introducing olive oil into the UK as something used in cooking and not to dislodge earwax. He saw her bring a European sensibility to food and wanted to do the same with the rest of our homes. So Habitat was born.
When Habitat launched, they didn't necessarily start off with a lot of furniture. They started with those things that you can carry away with you. And you can see that from the early catalogues. There's a lot of homeware, there's a lot of toweling, there's a lot of fabrics, there's tote bags. And even the way that the objects are described in those catalogues, it's quite fun and quirky. So it really speaks of a new way of consuming and being a consumer.
Conran changed the way we lived, ate and slept. Brits ditched bulky blankets, opting for the far sexier duvet. Flat pack furniture arrived, so did the chicken brick and the paper pendant light shade. The artist and designer Simone Brewster, whose rugs feature in this year's Habitat collection, says her whole life was shaped by the company.
When I went off to study, I was at UCL, and when I was studying architecture, we had a campus right near their flagship store on Tottenham Court Road. So I would go past Habitat every day, and it had the most interesting window displays. It felt really on the edge. More cutting edge. It was really contemporary. And then when I learnt about the brand, and it was a British brand, and then it's like, oh wow, this is one of our brands.
Habitat not only brought Britain good taste, it also brought us the catalogue.
I actually really liked the idea that they had of having these magazines that gave you kind of images into how the product could be displayed in these really nice lifestyle shoots that they'd have.
I think Habitat stands for design to me. I mean, I have a very strong emotional commitment to Habitat. I was present at the first opening, and every Habitat catalogue launched was a big moment in the year for my family.
Sebastian Conran, son of Sir Terence, Habitat lifer and part of this year's design team.
A lot of the time, the Habitat catalogues were filmed in our own home, so there was a lot of chaos and, lighting rigs and all that sort of thing. And of course, in those days, pre-LED, this was really hot. And then, you'd find transparencies all over the place. And it was a very energetic and lively and exciting time. My dad was very hands-on and involved. But he also asked me, what do you think of this? Or how do you think this should be? He was very inclusive.
Branches opened across the country, and once we could order the catalogue, Habitat was no longer a metropolitan treat. Conran created the Design Museum in London. This is him talking about the importance of its opening.
Well, Margaret Thatcher opened the Design Museum at Butler's Wharf, and this was a great moment when we saw that at long last government was interested in how important design was in our economy.
But it didn't go all perfectly for the Prime Minister.
She got stuck in the lift and it went up to the exhibition floor, and the lift started about that amount above the ground. And she said to me, "What do I do now?" And I said, "Jump." And she jumped.
For a while, the Conran name equated to a Midas touch. There were expansions to Europe, the US, restaurants. British design was alive and well. But British retail was not. The pressure to keep manufacturing costs as low as possible forced high street furniture brands to source their products through the same Far East factories. And critics said that perhaps Habitat was a store of its time. When people no longer wanted to live like Terence Conran, they now had plenty of choice from elsewhere. Habitat passed through various hands before finally, in 2023, its shops left the high street. The stores may have passed into collective design memory. The name, however, can still be seen on the shelves of the supermarket giant Sainsbury's and online too. Dropping a bath mat in with your weekly shop may not have the cool of a Habitat store, but the name is still there. Habitat's head of design, Andrew Tanner, agrees.
I think we're very fortunate. Obviously, with Habitat in Sainsbury's stores, it opens up opportunities that perhaps couldn't travel to city destinations, perhaps weren't able to connect with the brand. So to think that 70% of the UK population can now access Habitat as a brand, touch and feel it in the amazing surroundings of a supermarket that is there to do one purpose, but you're also there to kind of go onto the right hand side of the shop and what am I going to put into my basket that's going to surprise and delight my living space at home at the same time is brilliant. Quality is paramount for Habitat. It always has been, but so has accessibility.
And this summer we can enjoy a taste of Habitat past with a touch of 2024 added. 60 products designed by the in-house team and also with help from industry-leading collaborators. They are a delight. They bring a tinge of nostalgia. I couldn't help but remember just how much fun a trip to Habitat used to be, in a way that a screen or a supermarket can never really match. But Sebastian Conran sought to put me right, taking me back to the idea of the catalogue.
The thing about the catalogue was that it was the first time that catalogues have been shown with lifestyle imagery. What was a catalogue has now become a website, and except that we don't throw them away at the end of the day. It is very sad that we don't have these physical stores that you have to schlep to on a Saturday, find somewhere to park, and then get your product in. The world has actually sort of moved on quite a lot since then. So I would say, summing it up, I think we're better where we are now than when we were. But it's easy to be nostalgic about things, and it is very sad that the high streets are changing. But, we're in a transition at the moment, and hopefully things will get better.
This summer, we'll see the Habitat 60 items on display in where else but the Design Museum. It shows once again that thanks to Terence Conran, we can all touch something special every single day. For Monocle in London, I'm Emma Nelson.
Thank you, Emma. And the exhibition Changing Spaces, 60 Years of Design with Habitat starts on the 10th of July and will be on at London's Design Museum until the 11th of August. That's all for this week. If you're eager for more design stories, then listen to our main programme, Monocle on Design, airing on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. London time. Or if you prefer print, you can pick up a copy of Monocle magazine. It's available on all good newsstands now. Today's episode was produced by me, Maylie Evans, and our editor this week was Flynn Simons. Thank you very much for listening.